Any thoughts about gas leases on state forest land, on state land?
You know, as a lawyer, I'm fortunate in that every question that I am asked, I don't have to answer immediately. Law implies research. This is one that I have to research. I'm not going to sit here before you guys and tell you that I have the answers to every question, because I don't. That is something I'd have to research. I don't. That's not something I do not have an opinion on today as we sit here.
Given your experience in Luzerne County Courthouse and working in that environment, were you surprised by the corruption scandal?
No. I mean, I'm a confident guy. I think I'm a half-decent attorney, and I felt that I wasn't getting a fair shake when I walked in those doors. And for me, someone who has a pretty good feeling of my ability and has, like I said, a good self-confidence, to be put in a situation like that, it was disturbing and troubling to me. And that also led me to change my practice. I mean, it got me away from doing civil work and put me in more of an administrative law arena, because I did not like practicing in that environment.
Specifically Luzerne County?
Only in Luzerne County.
Any specific situations, any specific court?
I just felt I wasn't getting a fair shake, and I didn't think my clients were getting fair shakes. I'm not going to call anybody out by name. I mean, we know the names, you know, but I just felt that I could go in, do my best, have the facts and the law on my side, and it didn't matter.
What do you think led to the mess that we're in now? What allowed that culture to thrive apparently?
Well, a lot of it has to do with that 4,993 number I told you about. The people who vote are the people that are controlled by the party. So if the party is hand-selecting candidates, and if you look at the people who have been caught up in this corruption probe, they are party people. Conahan, Chivarella, Moran, Bonner, Bellis, so on and so forth. These are people that the party have supported before they even announced their candidacy. And when you look at that 4,993 number, these are votes that are controlled by the organization as a whole. So that's how you promulgate this. Additionally, our enforcement and punishment isn't near strict enough. And I just don't, I mean, vetting is a term that came out when Sarah Palin decided that she wanted to be vice president. I don't think we properly vet our candidates. And that's the party's responsibility. When I decided to run for Prothonotary last year, I reached out to the party in December, so 6 months before the primary occurred. And I asked the party leaders, who else is considering a run? Because I knew what I had gone through in 2001, and I wasn't apt on doing it again. And when I was given the name of the person who ultimately beat me, I did my own vetting. And I came up with 3 legitimate issues as to why that person should not have been in the race. One of them ended up costing her the general. And I presented those 3 issues to party leadership, which obviously they ignored. And all 3 of them reared their ugly head, by the way. But the one that really sunk her campaign was the one that everybody reported on the front page of their newspapers.
The implication, though, is that there's a puppet master somewhere. If the party's controlling the voters, who's controlling them? I mean, there's a limited number of people who are controlling the party, and for what reason would they make these decisions?
Because they have something to give back, whether it be jobs or contracts. I mean, it's a vicious circle, and it all feeds back to keeping those parties in control.
Is there a legislative solution? Is there something that can be done in Harrisburg to begin to try to address what's happening?
I think so. I think you need to eliminate a lot of the perks of the jobs, and these are things that I talked about. You need to implement term limits so that you can't have people build the power base that they can now. You need to eliminate a lot of the monetary perks like the per diems and the pensions, so that people don't think that they're running for a position just so they could be financially secure in their later life. And you need to impose stricter punishment for violating the public trust, which would include, for those people who are in there now, not allowing them to access their pensions and more significant jail time.
How far back do you think this reaches? I mean, how ingrained in this is in our community?
Before I was born. I mean, I think this goes back, as far as you want to go back, you're going to find it. I can't remember. I was just reading something recently, and I can't remember what it was, but it centered on a state senator who was embroiled in a travel voucher corruption probe, contacting a person who got a state job and asking them how they ended up getting the state job without his approval. And I can't remember, I think that was from the 50s. And I remember reading it and saying, wow, here we are 50 years later. We have state legislators who are involved in money grab probe, and people are still worried about who's getting state jobs. So nothing has changed. I mean, everything has remained the same. Hopefully, by the time the feds leave, we'll have this cleaned up. I don't think they're leaving anytime
I was
soon.
going to say, how long do you think that's going to take?
Years. Because every time they pick up a rock, they're led in a different direction. I mean, they were in my parking lot, what was it, last Monday? I was in work early, and I preparing for a case that day, and I look out, and there were 4 black Escalades and a budget rental truck in my parking lot. So in my building is Phyllis Mundy and several attorneys. I'm thinking, wow, who are they coming in to get? Well, they didn't. They came out, they turned left, and they went down to the building next to Joe Quinn's office, which was the dredging. Right. So I thought they were coming into my building, but that was just last week. I don't think they're. I think we haven't even gotten to the attorneys yet. I think.
You think there's going to?
Oh, come on. Yeah, absolutely there are.
Regarding
The underinsured, uninsured issues that have reared their ugly heads. I think a lot of the school boards have remained untouched, and we haven't gotten into any of the local governmental issues yet. So your towns and municipalities. This is much more far-reaching than where it's at right now.
Has anyone ever approached you to do something that you felt was unethical?
No, and I hope they do when I get in, because the first thing I'm going to do is report them. Like I said, I have a wife and 4 kids. I'm not going to jail. And if anybody came to me and asked me to do something that was immoral, unethical, I'm not taking a chance. They're getting reported immediately.
And when I asked you about are there things on the legislative side that we might do, you talked about eliminating perks of jobs, but that seems to be more of a state lawmaker thing. If we talk to school board directors locally, I think they would tell us that there aren't really that many perks to the job. So to get down to that level, are there things?
I disagree with you that there aren't perks to that job. Do you know anybody who's tried to get a teaching job recently?
Well, there aren't legal perks.
Well, yeah, I mean, so we're going to hope that the feds find these things out. I mean, that's all I can tell you. I think, hey, and the punishment shouldn't go one way. If a teacher pays $2,500 to get a job, then the teacher is equally as responsible as the school board member that took the money.